You're listening to episode 71 of Lifestyle Locker with Angelique Panagos.
And I think especially in the Western world, we have this quick fix mentality, and it's this replacement model. So I have a headache, I'll take a pill. I'm not menstruating, so I'll take the oral contraception. These are just Band-Aids. We need to look at the roots, like what's causing that? Like, why are you not menstruating?
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hand, and welcome to the Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we dive into what makes an awesome lifestyle. From relationships to money mindset, nutrition to fitness, emotional health to peak performance, we bring you on an amazing journey to unleashing your human potential. So here's a little bit about our guest, Angelique. She's actually from across the pond. She's from the UK. So Angelique Panagos is a writer, a total foodie, and health crusader with an immense passion for the healing power of food. Angelique is a nutritional therapist with her own successful West End practice specializing in female health, stress and digestion, and is also the author of The Balance Plan, which is a diet and lifestyle approach to balancing hormones. Angelique has been featured in ITV's Sugar-Free Farm Series 1 and has contributed to I Quit Sugar with Sarah Wilson and publications such as Women's Health, Tatler, Cosmopolitan, InStyle, Harper's Bazaar, and The Telegraph. Angelique completed her nutritional therapy training at the renowned Institute of Optimum Nutrition in London. She's registered and regulated by the British Association of Applied Nutrition and Nutritional Therapy. Their acronym is BANT, and is a member of the Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council, CNHC. In addition, she's also proud to have completed the Institute for Functional Medicine in the UK and is pursuing her certification with the Institute of Functional Medicine. So without further ado, here's our guest today, Angelique. Everybody, today we have a very special guest from across the pond in the UK. Her name is Angelique. She is going to drop some serious knowledge about nutrition, about life, about healing. And her accent is completely awesome. So I hope many of you will be paying attention because I think I can listen to her all day on our pre-talk. My goodness. So welcome, Angelique.
That's such a great introduction. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Oh, very excited. So we hear a lot of great stories on Lifestyle Locker Radio, and yours is a pretty good story. So I really want you to kind of bring us back because, when we hear tragedy to triumph, I know you've had like a lifetime of things that have been going on, and this is a really cool, you've blossomed into, a pretty amazing teacher about health. So can you kind of bring us on that journey?
Absolutely. So before I even get started on that, there has been an amazing journey. And when I look back, I just think, wow, I put my body through so much. And yet the true resilience of it is amazing. And a lot of the times when I share my story, I look at people's eyes and I just think, wow, they feel quite sorry for me. But I felt really sorry for me as well. But my journey has really helped me and sculpted me into the practitioner that I am. And I really draw on my experiences. And I'm actually quite grateful for a lot of them. And I'm definitely going to hopefully show you why as I go through it. But let's get started on me.
Ready.
Ready. Let's do it. Greek-Italian girl, born and bred in sunny South Africa. And that means one thing, and that's the license to eat. And boy, oh boy, in my family did we eat a lot. So basically, if you did well, you got given a meal. If you were told off about something, you were given a meal. So there was always food around for any occasion. And I was really lucky because my mum's always been interested in naturopathy and homeopathy and nutrition. So I had a very good foundation. So although we were eating like the baklava and the pasticcio and everything that's not great for the hips, but great for the taste, we still had salads and vegetables and lean meats and good fats. So there was a good balance. And I'm really pleased about that because I feel like I could draw on that later on in life because when I reached about 18, 19, I started partying like a rock star. I was the invincible girl that could drink any boy under the table, and I always tried to do just that. So, I mean, I've got fond memories of of nights out. But what was happening then was I was drinking a lot. I was eating a lot of sugary foods. I wasn't sleeping. And that in itself just created this hormonal storm within my body. And from the day my period started, so I'm the girl that actually started menstruating at the age of 10. I'm the girl that had to go home from school because of my periods being so sore and because it actually just made me physically ill. And I always had this terrible relationship with my period. It was like a enemy that came when it felt like coming as well, because it was like Armageddon. I'd been told that it was going to come, but I just didn't know when it was going to happen. So it was just like this terrible affair. And by the time I was going through all this parting, I actually stopped menstruating for 90 days at a time.
Wow.
And it was horrible because I'd have PMS for 90 days at a time. So basically, it was great fun to be around.
That sounds
irritable, like it. Irritable, bloated, sore breath. And I would tell anybody that would listen, as I'm doing now, just telling the story of how horrible I was feeling. So I started going to, I also put on a lot of weight. So suddenly, well, it wasn't suddenly, it gradually happened. But one day I just looked in the mirror and, I had like moon face and a very apple shape. And then I thought, well, I have to lose weight. And how do you lose weight? Well, I've been told that calories in versus exercise, so versus your energy out, equals weight loss. So that's what I did. I cut my calories and I upped my exercise. What I mean by that is I developed an eating disorder. So I developed anorexia, unfortunately. And then what started off with bulimia, which led into anorexia. And I exercised excessively. I'd wake up at 5 a.m. to go for a run on the beach. I would exercise during a lunch break. I would go to the gym at night because they were open till 11, 12, 1 o'clock. So I was just exercising excessively. And I lost about 20 kilos.
Yeah.
In 4 months. And, that's about how many pounds?
Like 40, 45 pounds. That's
45 pounds. Yeah. So that's a lot,
Yeah.
And in 4 months, I remember my mum came and she was just like, you've lost all like the layer of fat in your cheeks. Like you just look gaunt and gray. So now I wasn't menstruating at all. And I was super moody and I was so tired, but I couldn't sleep and my hair was falling out, yet I was still partying. So this was just an extreme case of neglect for the body, really. And my body was paying the price. So it went on for quite a few years. And then my eating disorder switched into obsessive compulsive overeating. Then I couldn't stop eating. So then it was literally a case of just eating everything I possibly could and still purging at times because I was still in the height of eating disorders, and I put on a lot of weight. So I put on 20 plus kilos at that time.
Up and down, or down and up.
Up and down. Now I'm back to that stage, and I'm not menstruating. I've got this super tube around my waist, and no matter what I do, I can't get rid of this belly fat, and I'm still exercising excessively. So now we're painting this picture of this person that's really trying to pave a way in life as well, but feeling absolutely horrible. And I was also bouncing from one doctor to the next. I was going to them saying, I'm not feeling right. I've got cold hands and feet. I'm losing my hair. I can't concentrate. So they ran tests and they were all coming back as normal. And I remember they did a scan and they said to me, I have cysts on my ovaries, but everyone has cysts and there's nothing that we can really do about them. And so these are the messages that I was hearing the whole time. But I have a family a lot of us are hyperthyroid in the family. And so I had a predisposition to have a thyroid condition. So I kept pushing to be tested. And I remember I decided I'll go see a nutritional therapist because my friend had been to see one and she'd seen amazing results. And we ran a battery of tests. So we looked at stool, saliva, blood, and they actually painted a picture of an autoimmune thyroid going on, so Hashimoto's. And I went armed with these tests to the doctor and I said, please, look at these results and tell me, like, what does it mean? Can you run any more tests? And that's when we actually found out I had Hashimoto's. and it'd been left for such a long time that it had developed into hypothyroidism. And we ran hormone tests, and I was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries, so polycystic ovary syndrome. And finally, I had like these answers in my head. So the saying goes, your genes load the gun and your environment pulls the trigger. And I truly believe that it was my environment that actually just exacerbated all these conditions, like the hormonal storm. I wasn't giving my body nutrients. My digestion was terrible. I was just feeding it caffeine and alcohol. So drinking coffee to wake up, alcohol to go to sleep, and sugar. I mean, I was like the Cookie Monster, I just wanted sugar the whole time. And that craving for carbohydrates where you feel like Garfield and you just want to like plop your face in a bowl of lasagna. And this is it. This is your life.
You're painting a good picture for me. I'm a visual person.
So there I am, and so now I've got these answers, and I thought, well, I need to fix myself. And I remember thinking that one day. I was like, I used to say to my mum when I was younger as well, like, I want to heal the world. I don't know what that means. Like, but one day I want to be in a position where I can help others heal. And, I used to like put my hands on people if they like had a sore arm or something. I'm like, oh, let me try and help you heal that. It's like this was things that was going on in my head. I had no idea what it meant, or where my path would actually lead to. And about 3 months after I saw this nutritionist, I enrolled to study nutrition. And I thought, well, I'm first going to fix myself, and then I'm going to be in the best possible position to help others. And I haven't looked back since. But my journey didn't just end like that. Like all of a sudden, I'm eating better, I'm taking some supplements, and now, ta-da, I'm perfect. It's been a long-ass journey. It's just been, it's taken a long time. And I got my periods from menstruation from every 90 days down to every 35 days. So that was a massive improvement in itself.
Yeah.
But when we started trying to have a baby, I went through 2 miscarriages.
Wow.
So even though I'd gotten myself to this point where the weight came off again, and it's been off now for the last, 2018. So we're going on for 9 years now. So where it's been stable. And I mean, that's a true testament to a lifestyle change. It's not a fat diet. This is another key thing. I did every single diet under the sun. I boiled cabbage. I only ate meat like oblix with a wild boar. I went vegan. I did everything. Anything that you can mention, I probably tried it. So it's not about a fad diet. So I had to move away from that mindset as well. It's about giving your body the right nutrients and the right tools. That doesn't mean that everything's just going to fix itself in a split second. So I had to really adapt and change my lifestyle for a long time, consistently, instead of trying to be a perfectionist, to be able to finally get to my promised land of having a baby. She's a year old now. So, yay! And she's so cute. She gives me double hand waves, and she's like, she's so sweet. But now, so I got to the point where I was feeling hormonally balanced. And, I went through the 2 miscarriages, which caused a hormonal storm each time. But now that I'm postpartum, I'm back to that hormonal storm area. And it's a good reminder. Mm-hmm. It's a good reminder of how terrible you can feel when your hormones are not balanced. And I think that's even given me more of a drive to really want to dive deep into hormonal health.
That's so great. So can I circle back to a couple of things?
Yeah.
So you mentioned 2 things. Well, if I remember the second one, but the first one I really like, because it's a lot of people are blaming their genes, germs, and bad luck on their health.
Yep, absolutely.
And you didn't use the word, but epigenetics. The genes load the gun, and then the environment pulls a trigger. That our environment, like you said, eating sugar and alcohol and all of these things, and we wonder why. Why did we end up this way? It must be our genes.
I blamed my genes for a long time. I'm always going to be overweight. It's my genes. My whole family has thyroid issues. That's why I have them. But what we know about epigenetics now is that we either eating to switch on our genes, or we eating to switch off those genes.
Exactly.
And that we have the control.
which is so cool. And I
It's
just wanted
so
to make sure
cool, exactly.
yeah. So I want to make sure the audience gets that, because you're not predetermined. Your health is not predetermined. You create it. Your life is not predetermined. You create it. And the second thing that you mentioned is, it wasn't an overnight success, right? That life and lifestyle is a process. And, what I try to teach, and I think this is great because you're kind of outlining it as you tell your story, is, a habit can take about 30 days to kind of get going. And to make that habit a lifestyle is about 90 days.
Yeah. It's about dedication, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah. And I think especially in the Western world, we have this quick fix mentality, and it's this replacement model. So I have a headache, I'll take a pill. I'm not menstruating, so I'll take the oral contraception. These are just Band-Aids. We need to look at the roots, like what's causing that? Like, why are you not menstruating? Okay, let's just look at that. Let's just take that. The body is primed to menstruate, and it's not just the bleed. The body is primed to let you ovulate each and every month in your reproductive years, because it's getting you ready. Whether or not you want to have a child, it's still creating the environment for conception. That's what the body does. So if your periods are out of whack, we need to do some investigation as to why that is. And there's not just taking a pill, it's going to solve that. What that pill is going to do is going to give you this breakthrough bleed. You're going to think you having a period. I took the pill for three months. I cried solidly, and I thought I was having a period. But I came off the pill, and everything was still a mumbo jumbo. Everything was still same thing. And I see this time and time again in my clinic, where clients are on the pill because their skin is terrible, or they're on the pill because they got PCOS or endometriosis, and it's just adding this Band-Aid approach. And sometimes we need it. Sometimes we need to just take the pressure off a bit, but we need to do the work underneath.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're, like you said, the Western world is such a quick fix or a magic bullet society. I just read an article today that in the US, they're saying by 2020, there'll be 1 million opioid overdoses by 2020, 1 million. And this is like, this is mind blowing. So we obviously know the answer is not drugs. It's in any part of our world, any part of our life, I should say. So it's neat that you were talking about lifestyle being the most important shift. It's not a fad. It's not a quick fix. It's not a magic bullet. Like, let me, I got to lose like 50 pounds or 25 kilos or whatever it may be. It's like, no, that may be a goal to have the weight melt off, but that can happen by starving yourself, which is obviously not the right way.
As I definitely demonstrated through my life.
Yeah. Or we have this like mental shift where we can, find people like yourself and take action and take the right steps, like you said, to kind of dig down, get to the root cause of this shift. Like, the body's smart. The innate wisdom in the body knows what to do when you give it the right tools. Always. It knows
what to do. And, there's some times where we do need that replacement model to come in. So whether it's
emergencies,
and if you're hypothyroid as well, where, you need that thyroid replacement, but if you're just taking that, it's not going to do its full potential. You're still going to have the symptoms. And I use myself as an example because I was put onto thyroxine, and my symptoms didn't change. I maybe felt a little bit better, but I was still exhausted. My hair was still falling out, and I was still like freezing when everyone else was hot, and I couldn't understand what was going on. It was until you give your body the tools to act and create the environment that you can actually get the benefit from if you need that medication. But this whole thing of not looking at differential diagnosis either, like your cholesterol's high, we'll give you statins. Why is your cholesterol high? Is there an underlying thyroid? Is there other things that are leading to this? So I think, I get pretty passionate about that because I feel that, and I see that, I think because I see it a lot in not only in clinic, but in everyone, in a lot of people that I've come across. It's just this mentality that if I'm not well, I'm just going to take a pill. And it's about making consistent changes. And that's scary. That is scary because we have such a relationship to food each and every one of us has a different relationship to food. My relationship with food has changed 5 or 6 times over my lifetime already. So, but it's about finding that lifestyle that works for you. And it's exactly that. It's a lifestyle. When people say to me, "Oh, are you on a diet?" I'm like, "No, this is my lifestyle." I haven't been on a diet for years. Thank God, because diets suck. Okay.
Yeah.
They're horrible. You feel deprived, you feel horrible. But when you change your mindset and you start understanding that food is information, or embracing that food is information, then you have a different relationship to it, and then you start feeling different.
Yeah. So can you kind of dive into when you have, I'm not sure if you take care of mostly women in your practice because of your experience. But if you can dive in just to, what it looks like if someone comes to you that whether it's, I want to use maybe like more serious case, but if it's like a hormonal issue, if someone is trying to get pregnant, or if someone's body weight has been like you've had it in the past, up and down, up and down, up and down. What do you do with these people when you bring them in? Besides, I get the consultation, which is probably one of the more important parts, but what do you do like test wise? What do you do to kind of dive deep?
So I think the majority of my clients are women, but I still see men in the clinic, and I love it when they come in, because I find that, and no, this is just a generalization, but I find that they make more changes than some of the ladies. So I'm just going to put that out there, that ladies, we need to make these changes as well, but they seem to be more motivated to start with. So I love seeing the boys in there. It's good when they come in, and each person's individual. We're all biochemically individual. So a lot of people may say, okay, for everyone that's got PCOS, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But what we really need to dive deep into is what is going on for you in your life. What have you been doing for the last 6 months, year, 2 years, that's led you to where we are now? Because everything that you've been doing there, we need to work out what are the things that have been sabotaging your health, the things that have been wrong. And so the most important tool I think I have is that initial consultation.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and this is where I'm sitting with someone for an hour. They filled in a questionnaire, so it's a 5-page questionnaire, and there's a food diary. Now, it's only a 3-day food diary. I get them to do more once we've met, and there's more of a buy-in, because a 3-day is just a snapshot.
Yeah,
I really want to see a week, 2 weeks, and I call it my mood, food, and stool diary. I want to know how you're eating, how you're feeling when you're pooping. So, it gives me a really good picture of what's going on. And I dig deep there. I want to know everything. I want to know everything you think I shouldn't know about, because I want to know about your moods. I want to know about your mindset, your relationship with food. When did it start? So let's take irregular periods, for example. When was the last time that you had a normal period? Or let's take migraines. When did you first notice you started having migraines? And a lot of people say, oh, it was with my first period, or it was when I moved countries and it was a very stressful situation. So then we dive into that stressful situation. Like, how did you deal with that? Are you still in that? Because we're living in a world of acute stress now, aren't we? Chronic stress. Chronic stress.
Well, both. Yeah.
This is it. And it's like acute stress on a daily basis.
Yeah, totally.
And we're not faced with a wild lion about to attack us. But what we've done is we've taken this wild animal and we've put a lead around its neck and we've said, you're my pet now. But it's a freaking lion, so we're jumping every 2 seconds. So we're under like this immense stress, whether that's email stress or preempting stress or food stress. So we really dive deep into the where, who, why, and how. And a typical day, I want to know what you do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Do you sleep through the night? Are you passing stool? I have a lot of people that come to me and say, my digestion's fine. And when we dive deep, they may be passing a stool once or twice a week.
And that's mind-blowing.
That is not fine.
No.
And then, so from there, I'll decide what kind of biochemical testing or that we need. So whether that's a stool test, or whether it's a saliva, so looking at adrenal function, looking at your cortisol, DHEA output for the day, or whether that's a panel of hormones that we run over the course of a month.
Yeah.
And so that we can really see what your sex hormones are doing, and or whether it's a blood test. So there's different tools that we can use. So if someone's presenting with really hypothyroid or thyroid type symptoms, then I really want to run a full thyroid panel with them.
Okay.
And I try and get as much done with their GP as well, on the NHS. So so that the GP is also involved in this health journey, so that I write to people's GPs as well. We live in the UK. I really want to know what your vitamin D levels are doing. I mean, I love the fact that we're learning so much about vitamin D now, a lot more than what we knew 5, 6, 7 years ago. So vitamin D playing a major role in hormonal health, playing a major role in immunity, in everything. So it's not just bones and teeth. But I just want to touch on thyroid because of my own journey with thyroid, we just kept testing TSH. So thyroid stimulating hormone. We're testing then what the pituitary is doing. We're not even looking at my thyroid function at that point. That's like the tip of the iceberg. I want to know about your free T4, your free T3, your reverse T3 and your thyroid antibodies. That paints a much bigger picture than just looking at the tip of the iceberg. So it's really about getting detailed results. And I have many people that come to me and they say, I want to run all the tests. And I'm like, whoa, because you don't need all the tests. We need to be specific as to what your body needs to tell us right now, as opposed to spending thousands of pounds on tests where we may not use the results. It's nice to know that everything's okay, but it's better to be specific and tailored in what we do. And saying that, at the same time, I'm running the test to hopefully cross things off the list.
Totally.
You don't have parasites. Like sometimes people get a test results back and they're quite disappointed that there's no parasite, but because then we still don't have the answers to what's going on. But that's the reason for running the test as well, is to cross off you don't have that. Your thyroid is optimal. Okay, it's not thyroid. Let's move on to adrenal or vice versa.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned something that I think is so neat, and I think that I see in my practice as well, that mindset may be one of the biggest shifts people need to make, in this overall lifestyle shift, so whether they have, period problems or weight problems or other physical, they're creating a physical problem with their mind.
Totally. And I think having been through so many weight issues myself, I can totally relate to someone sitting in front of me and they've come to me for weight loss. That's what's brought them through the door. I mean, and I start off by saying weight loss is like the fruit on the tree, and I'm giving you a ladder and you're going to climb up this ladder to reach your fruit. But before you can do that, I need to go right to the roots of this tree and see what's going on, because weight loss, in my experience, is not just calories in versus calories out.
Agreed, 100%.
So this is a paradigm, an outdated paradigm that needs to be given the boot. But the problem is that the media perpetuates this idea of if you just move a little bit more and eat a bit less, you're going to lose weight. But what that means is that you're going to start probably grabbing all these diet products, these low-fat meals, which unfortunately, if that worked, if low-fat and diet products worked, we'd all be like supermodel thin and extremely healthy, wouldn't we? We'd be perfect. I mean, we wouldn't have a job. We wouldn't have had to go through my journey because I had so many diet and fat-free products in my day. They should have worked, but they don't work. And this is the thing. So it's that whole mindset of it's okay to eat an avocado. This is how scared people become of fat. Like, no, I couldn't eat the half an avocado. I'm like, it's half an avocado. Yes, you can.
If fat made us fat and heavy, I would be the fattest person on the planet. My calories are crazy and they're mostly fat. So
this is the thing, and I often say that to people. So I bring my own experience into the consultation as well, and I think that gives people that glimmer of hope, because that's how I felt when I was there. So the consultation is not about me, but it's about my pearls of wisdom in my old age. I've been through it. Let me tell you about the journey. And it's the mindset that has to change. And fat doesn't make you fat. Sugar does. And I'm not talking about donuts and those type of fats. I'm talking about the good fats. And this whole low carb, high fat, when I first meet with a client and they come to me and they're like, I want to go on that, I'm like, we first have to get the basics right.
Yeah.
You first have to just start eating real food, and then we can move into paleo, whatever would work for your body the best. And that's the other thing. It's finding what works for you, because paleo might work for me, but it may not work for you. And that's okay. We just have to find what works for you. But I like to change language as well. So it's more like the right carbs and good fats. And by right carbs, I mean broccoli. That's a carbohydrate.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, like a sweet potato versus if you've got a choice between sweet potato and a bowl of white rice, have the sweet potato.
Yeah.
So it's simple switches like that can really make a big difference. And also this mentality that we just need to graze the whole day, like we have 7 stomachs. Does a cow have 7 stomachs? Because I've just got this image of a cow in my head.
It's got a lot. I don't know how many, but more than us.
Yeah, it's definitely got more than us. I hope it's got 7. Otherwise, I really don't remember anything. No, but it's, we're not a cow. We shouldn't be grazing all day long. And that's another big thing when working with weight loss clients, but even working with hormonal imbalances. Because if we look at that insulin plays a major role in health.
Yeah.
So I'm obsessed with insulin. Not really, but it's a big fact. I'm not obsessed with anything, but it's a big part of my clinical practice is looking at balancing that insulin out.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I think we're getting pretty far here. So I want you to touch on your book. It's on Amazon, right? Which is really cool. Hardcover and in the Kindle. The Balance Plan, right? 6 steps to optimizing your hormonal health.
Yeah. So basically I've taken my journey and what I did for myself and what I've learned in my clinical practice and in my studies and in the research. And I'm forever learning. I'm like the forever student. And I think that's how we become in our line of work, isn't it? Because we need to be keeping up with the latest research. And so I've taken this and I've put it into a book. And the response to the book has been overwhelming, and I'm really sensitive as a person, and I've always been, and I cry at some of the messages that I get, and I just feel like I've been put in like such a privileged position to be able to reach so many women and help so many people through the medium of this book. And so it's the balance plan. It's about finding balance again, and it's not a fad diet, and it's not a quick fix. And I talk about 6 pillars which we need to concentrate on. And, that's nourishing our body, balancing our blood sugar level, and looking after our gut flora. So that microbiome, I call them my eco warriors. Without them, we are not able to synthesize hormones because we don't have the cofactors to do so. I talk about blood sugar balance. I talk about insulin because
you like insulin, right?
Insulin. Let's talk about insulin. But really, it plays such a big role, not only in weight, but in testosterone, in estrogen, and in our period and our ability to ovulate properly. And then nurture. So I'm looking at adrenal glands. So we're either making stress hormones or we're making sex hormones. I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that, but that's just the bird's eye view on that. And your thyroid, I mean, I call her my queen of metabolism. The thyroid is, if you had met me about 15 years ago, I would not be able to be having this conversation with you because my thyroid was so low that I wasn't able to put sentences together. I just felt like there was this wrought iron gate that was being pulled down in front of my eyes. It was just heavy in this front area. And once I got my thyroid balanced, it cleared. So thyroid, really important. That's nurture and cleanse. And here in the UK, especially, the word detox is becoming like a 4-letter word. It's becoming the F-bomb. Like if you say detox, yeah. So there's a lot of controversy around detox, and I'm not saying go on a strict detox, but what I'm saying is bring in those detox. I call them my detox warriors, bring them in on a daily basis so that we're giving the body the tools that it needs. And detoxification is really important to get rid of spent hormones out of the body, to help you poop. And so those detox warriors are essential to that. And then movement. We are sedentary in our Western world.
We are.
And it's crazy. You know, I find that my back hurts the most when I sit in a consultation 8 hours in a row and I haven't moved. And I just think, wow, I was not designed to just sit here.
No.
And I'm sure this is definitely your area.
I think I can find you a chiropractor if you need one.
And you treat across the pond. Like,
I can. Hold on. Let me think.
Yeah, let's do that. And then, so it's about getting daily movement in. So it's not all just sweatband and lycra. You know, you can go and do your good sessions a few times a week, but it's about going for a walk. It's about, instead of meeting for a cup of tea and a slice of cake, meet for a walk in the park.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that in the States, but over here you've got Borrow My Doggy, where you can actually borrow people's pets and take them for a walk. I mean, that's amazing. Do that, borrow someone's dog. And then my last pillar is about restore. And I think that we've moved away from this self-care. And I know I definitely am guilty of that, where I can put every single body and their aunties in front of me. And then I'll put myself last on that list. So it's about self-care, and it's not a luxury, it's a necessity, because we're not sleeping enough. We're staring at our mobile screens, our tablets, our computers, whatever you're looking at. We've got this light coming at us continuously, and this is messing up our circadian rhythms and is having a catastrophic effect on our health. And we're the guinea pigs.
Yeah, no kidding.
We are totally, I mean, I've been using a mobile phone or a device for like the last, I'm so old now, let me just work it out.
So old, come on. You're not so old.
For about, let's say, I can't work it out, let's say 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years sounds about right.
My brain and maths just doesn't work. So that's not my strong point, okay? So I'm not here for maths. But yeah, so we need to restore, and restores, I talk about deep breathing as well to really help with our adrenal glands and our stress response. So in a nutshell, that's what the book's about, with a 28-day food plan and the recipes to go with it.
Say there are recipes in there.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to eat right.
That's it. And
right?
it's about balance. So, you know, I follow the plan for 4 weeks, like really give it your all. And what we're going to find out at the end of that is, one, you're going to either be feeling hundreds, you're going to be feeling great, or two, you're going to be feeling better, but we still need to do some investigation. There's still more work to be done, and that's where you'd go and see someone for an individualized program. So that's what I'm hoping that people will gain, that they'll gain volumes from reading the book, and that will give them the tools to be able to either investigate further or to start feeling great.
Yeah. So everybody go get the book, please, and make sure you give her an awesome review on Amazon.
Oh, it'd be so great.
Those are very helpful for authors. So I want to make sure you guys do that, please. So Miss Angelique, so I like to get to the point. I like to ask this question as we get to the end.
Yeah.
Our listeners are usually very action-oriented people.
Good.
Right. They like to take this knowledge and put it in play in their lives. So I always like to have 3 or 4 golden nuggets. You can give 3 of just some action steps that people can do today. Not waiting for tomorrow, but they can start today. Simple things.
Simple things. Have a look at what you've been eating over the last 3-4 days. If you are eating a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine, or drinking caffeine as well, and a lot of refined carbohydrates, those are the things that need to start coming out of the diet. And if you're an all or nothing person, you may feel absolutely horrible for a few days, but you do start feeling better. There is that promised land. So that's my first thing. Ditch the junk. And by junk, I mean sugar, especially, and refined carbohydrates. So that's number 1. Number 2, get some rest. Because I tell you what, that email is still going to be there in the morning. And that tweet, you're still going to be able to read it tomorrow morning. Put your phone away and go to sleep. I'm a bit passionate about it.
I needed that one.
Sure, I need to tell you as well. Put your phone away. And then let's try fill your plate with a rainbow of vegetables. Those vegetables feed your good bacteria. So they form the food for your good guys, which are going to help fluff out the stool, help you absorb your nutrients. And they also the fiber that we need. And it's estimated that we are drastically short on fiber. So you need to be eating those. And they also form part of your detox warriors. So it's like really three-pronged approach there. I may have said four things. But
that's all right. Listen, they're gonna do them. We're going to do them.
So we're ditching the junk. We getting some sleep. We're eating more veg. And I have to throw in another one, balancing those blood sugar levels. And that's key as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So good. So good. So good. I'm going to personally take I do a few of them already, but the tech one has been my challenge in the world that I live in.
Mine too. My husband called me out the other day. We were going to watch a show, and he's like, well, I'll watch the show and get really excited, and you can sit staring at your phone. And I was like, oh my God, do I do that? And he was like, yeah, basically you do. So now I've got, by 8:30, the phone goes off, and that's it.
Yeah, good. Well, so it's really, then relationships, it helps your relationships too.
Because you actually like look at your partner. You're like, oh, is that what you look like? Yeah. So, and I think it's hard, but we have to start creating a lifestyle. And that's part of our new modern lifestyle is actually putting the phone down.
Yeah.
Crazy to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's easy to say it. It's hard to do, but it's an important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So, Miss Angelique, thank you so much. I was very excited we were able to connect. This was pretty awesome. And I could keep listening. If you want to keep talking, I could turn the recording off and we can keep listening. But I know you have stuff to take care of, a little one.
I have a baby to feed and bath, but next time I'll have a chat.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed this. And I look forward to seeing what your listeners think and to share with my audience as well.
Great. Locker Nation. How do you like Angelique from across the pond? Couldn't you listen to her all day with that accent? Hey, you know what you need to do when you're finished listening to this podcast all the way to the end, right? Go on to Amazon and buy her book. Buy The Balance Plan. 6 Steps to Optimize Your Hormonal Health. It's a beautiful book. I'm looking at it right now. You ready? You can hear it. All right. So the pictures inside, the recipes, it's just a very well laid out book. And you can tell she put a lot of energy, a lot of herself, a lot of her passion into this book. But I don't think anything has been missed. I mean, it is really a stunning book. It's something you want to put on your coffee table, how nice it is. But more important than how good looking the actual book is itself is to actually go through the content and see how amazing all of it is. And if you got a little taste and you like what you heard, go and get the book. It will serve you well. And make sure you do get over to lifestylelocker.com. Check out her show notes. We'll have all the links you need to connect with her. And I think you'll enjoy connecting with her and find her on Facebook and social media and all these other places. So that's it, Locker Nation. You'll be able to catch me on Facebook.com/Lifestyle Locker. I pump out lives all the time, as well as Instagram at Dr. Josh Hand. I try to be pretty social there. I share my days with you. You know, it's more fun than it is business. So check those things out. Follow me. You know, I'll follow you back at least if we're both interesting. It would be useful, right? It'd be good, right? Instagram's an awesome platform. I do love it. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Ready? Peace out.